One of the outcomes of this whole project is how you change people's minds.
The deeper philosophical questions about why are we doing this in the first place? How did we get here?
Agriculture is, I think, the first expression of dualism in the world, in which we divide the world into wild nature, which is to be subdued and ignored. It's something that's dangerous. We have to get rid of it. We have to take over. And our own world, our world of crops, of livestock, and then the culture that it produces.
And that we became reconfigured as a species in a most unsavory way with agriculture.
It is that claim to own land, to be able to own the earth and its reproductive power, which we chart to the beginning of agriculture.
We live in and are surrounded by powerful stories. Now, we don't call them stories all the time. These are these deep bedrock assumptions about the world. They're powerful, they're hard to change. When we really want to get out of the mainstream stories, sometimes it requires some radical action.
What is the ecosphere? There's a quote and then 4 principles.
The first group is called the organizers, and then there are the evaluators.
What is it that's beautiful that we need to understand and appreciate about our place?
The 12 teachers.
So I find myself constantly asking questions that have no answers.
We cannot ignore Alexander von Humboldt.
Each group is being asked to make a collective statement on Ecosphere Studies as they understand it.
This to me is a great opportunity for all of us to think about changing institutions, changing the way we think.
And we've got a long way to go to induce awe. Because the places that we have created under the dominant paradigms just obliterate awe. They obliterate creativity.
They posit human beings as capable of knowing who they are, knowing how the world works, and eventually getting it right. And yet we don't even understand the basic workings of the ecosystem.
But we're not bacteria in a petri dish. We have the ability to think and to change behavior. And I think that's what really this is all about.
Ecosphere Studies is the parallel of the system that we're creating. It is the cultural parallel of that system.
Natural systems agriculture, we think, is a place to begin as a basic reference point, starting with the idea that nature is not to be subdued or ignored, but it becomes our standard against which we judge our agricultural practices.
To do just the agricultural system, the polyculture perennial system, without the cultural thought would be a lost opportunity.
Here's this great opportunity to go to kind of ground zero of the dawn of agriculture and look at what it's been in the 20th century and what it can be.
As part of the development of Ecosphere Studies, to have some understanding of the magnitude is actually an important part of the exercise that we engage here, and also an exploration of how we got here.
For me, I feel like it needs to start right from preschool all the way up to college.
And what students will do with this.
I think there's redemption here for humans, and I think it can come in our own creative capacity to change. Our work here is really about being honest that we are asking for people to think differently about how the world is. It's a shift in reality. Educational systems advance worldviews. Educational systems, too, need refreshments of the imagination. Our work contributes to this necessary refreshment and to its influence in our culture's coordinating philosophy. we're asking ourselves, what does an ecospheric worldview look like?
Hope isn't about the probability or even the possibility of success, but figuring out how, especially when we're thinking about a curriculum, how to teach that through our own lives and the kinds of models that we provide for those students, so that eventually this way of thinking becomes the cultural institution.
Every bit of this curriculum that we talk about, every bit of what happens, in the end says, and we know this because we asked the ecosphere and we listened to what it had to say.
Showing that nature as measure is more than just a solution for agriculture. And that's really what I think the Ecospheric Studies program stands to influence over time.
We shall not cease from exploration, and in the end we'll know the place for the first time. And so the age of discovery is still before us.